Hello. So this is lesson 4 in unit 1, and we're going to learn how to multiply monomials by binomials. The last lesson in the last video included how to do monomials by monomials, so if you want a little refresher on that, if you're not 100% comfortable with it, go check out that last video before we get started with this one. So first I'm just going to show you what a monomial and what a binomial is. So a monomial is just one term. It's just something without adding or subtracting. It's just, for our example here, 2x. So it has a variable, a number, and it's just simple as that. A binomial has something in the middle, has two separate terms with either adding, subtracting, multiply, dividing, whatever you want to call it, whatever we have. So we have that in the middle of two terms. And that's what a monomial versus a binomial is. So now we're going to start by doing 2 times x plus 4. So here we have a monomial times a binomial. And in order to do this, we're going to have to distribute. In order to distribute, you need to take your first term and bring it to both of these terms separately. So first, we'll take our 2 to our x, and we'll get a 2x. And next, we're going to take our 2 to our 4, and we're multiplying here. So 2 times 4 would be 8. And we're multiplying because there's no other symbol here of addition or subtraction, and so that's how we know this is multiplication. So now, we're going to take a look at what it looks like when we have an x on the outside. So here we have our monomial, which is 3x, times our binomial, which is 4x plus 2. And we're going to do the same thing with distribution. We just have to remember to take both our 3x and bring them to each term. So we have 3x times 4x. Now this is our monomial times our monomial. What do? We have our 3 times our 4, which would be 12. And now we have our x times our x. When we multiply variables, we have to remember to add the exponents. So pretend there are little imaginary ones above those x's. So x times x would be 1 plus 1, so it's x squared. And now we need to bring our 3x over to our 2. We'll multiply the coefficients, so 3 times 2 is 6. And we have to bring our x over from our 3x because we cannot leave it by itself, or it would just go away. So our answer here would be 12x squared plus 6x. Let's do one more example of these, where we're going to have a squared here. So let's see what happens here. Now we have an x squared out here. So it's the same thing with just an x. We cannot forget to bring it to each of our terms. So we have 2x squared. We're going to distribute it to the first term. So 2x squared times x, we can pretend there's a 1 up here and a 1 in the exponent. So we'll have 2 times 1, which is 2. Now we're going to have x squared times x to the first. So we'll add the 2 and the 1, and we'll get our x cubed. And now we have to bring our 2x squared over to our 5. So we'll multiply our 2 times 5, which is 10, and bring over our x squared, because we can't forget about our x squared. So that's multiplying a monomial by a binomial. Now we're going to look at multiplying a binomial by a binomial. This could look something like this, where we have a binomial, let's say x plus 2, times another binomial, x plus 5. Now it looks a little similar to what we just did, but instead we have two terms here. And so that means we're just going to double distribute. So one way to look at this is by drawing our box method, where we have a box. We divide it into 4. And now we're going to take our first binomial and put it on top. So I'll put the x here and the 2 here. And I'll take my second binomial and put it right over here over x and our 5. So this sets it up really nice for us because we can see exactly what we're multiplying, and what we're multiplying will go into that box respectively. So see, we have our x up here and our x over here. So we have our x and our x, so x times x would be x squared. Now in this box we're going to follow along, and we have our x and our 2. So we're going to do 2 times x, which is just 2x. Now in this box we're going to bring our x and match it with our 5. So 5 times x is 5x. And now we're going to do our 5 times our 2, and we'll have our 10. And now we have one more step to do. We just need to add our like terms up. So here we'll bring our x squared, and now we have two terms that just have x's, so we're going to add them together, and we'll have 2x plus 5x, which will be 7x. And now we're just going to add on our 10. And this is our answer. Now we could do this one other way without the box method. I'll leave our answer up there just to show that they are the same. And here we're going to do FOIL. So FOIL is a little term, one little word that helps us remember to do a couple of things. So FOIL, F-O-I-L. The F stands for first, the O stands for outer, the I stands for inner, and the L stands for last. Now, what are these talking about? Well, we're talking about terms in our binomials. So our first terms would be the first two terms of the binomials. So I'll underline our first terms. Now our outer terms are going to be the outsides of our parentheses. So I'm going to underline those in blue. So here I'll put a blue here, purple here. Now inner, we're talking about the inner terms of our binomials. So we'll put a green line under those. And then our last terms are the last two. And we're going to put a line over those. Now notice how each have two lines under them. So we know that we're making sure that we hit both of them twice. Each term needs to be multiplied by each other, and this is how we make sure that happens. So let's see what we get. So we do our first, we do our purple. So we have our x times our other x, and we're going to get x times x, which is x squared. Now we're going to do our outer terms, which are our blue. So we have our x over here and our 5. So we get plus 5x. Now we're going to do our green, our inner terms. So we'll have 2 times x, and we'll get plus 2x. And now our last two terms are 2 and our 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. And again, we just need to combine our like terms real quick. So we'll have x squared add our 5x plus 2x. So that's 7x and plus 10. And you see how these two results gets us the same answer. It's just two different ways of answering the same question. Another way to look at FOIL, here I'll just erase this really quick and rewrite it. X plus 2 and x plus 5. Another way to look at it, using our same colors, I can do the first. We'll do our x times x in purple, our outer in blue again. So the outer two terms. Our inner is in green. So we have the inner two terms. And our last two terms in black, right there. So just another way to look at this FOIL method. And that's how we multiply binomials by binomials.